The moment he pressed the red button, his hands started shaking, because some confessions are not meant for quiet rooms or handwritten letters. They are meant to explode in front of the world. Thousands of viewers were already waiting, the live chat racing faster than his heartbeat, unaware that in the next few minutes, an ordinary stream would turn into something unforgettable. He wasn't about to show a game, promote a brand, or tell a joke. He was about to expose the truth he had buried for years, and once spoken, nothing would ever be the same again. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of honesty, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Miller had never planned to become an internet personality. He was just a regular guy from a quiet Ohio town, raised by a single mother who worked double shifts at a hospital and taught him that integrity mattered more than attention. But life has a strange way of pulling people into paths they never imagined. A few years after college, when loneliness mixed with creativity, Ethan started live streaming as an escape. At first, it was simple. Late-night talks, reactions, bits of humor that made strangers feel less alone. Slowly, without him realizing it, those strangers became a community. People tuned in not because he was flashy, but because he felt real. What they didn't know was that behind the calm voice and thoughtful expressions, Ethan carried a secret that weighed heavier with every passing stream. It was tied to a girl named Lily Harper, someone who had once been the center of his world, and was now the reason his chest tightened whenever he looked into the camera. Lily wasn't a mysterious online figure or a celebrity crush. She was his best friend from college, the person who sat beside him during long library nights and laughed with him over cheap diner breakfasts. She was the one who believed in his ideas before anyone else did. Back then, Ethan had been too afraid to admit what he felt. He watched Lily date other people, convinced himself that friendship was enough, and told himself that silence was safer than rejection. When graduation came, life scattered them in different directions. Lily moved to California to chase her dream of working in digital media, while Ethan stayed behind, choosing stability over risk. They promised to stay close, but promises fade when time and distance take over. Messages became occasional, then rare, and finally stopped altogether. The regret didn't hit immediately. It crept in quietly, showing up during sleepless nights and moments of unexpected success. As Ethan's channel grew, as people praised his honesty and emotional intelligence, the irony cut deep. He could be open with millions of strangers, yet he had never been brave enough to tell one person how much she meant to him. Every time someone in the chat asked about love or missed chances, he felt exposed, like they were unknowingly pressing on an old bruise. The idea of confessing on a live stream didn't come from a desire for drama. It came from exhaustion. Ethan was tired of hiding behind half-truths, tired of giving advice he had never followed himself. He knew Lily still followed his channel. He had seen her name pop up once or twice in the viewer list, quiet, unnoticed. That knowledge haunted him more than if she had been completely gone. She was there, somewhere behind the screen, watching him be everything except honest about her. On the night of the stream, Ethan sat alone in his small apartment, lights dimmed, city noise humming outside the window. He stared at his reflection in the monitor, noticing how much older he looked compared to the boy Lily once knew. His success suddenly felt hollow. What was the point of being seen by thousands if the one person he wanted to reach remained untouched? By his truth? As the stream continued, viewers sensed something was different. His energy was subdued, his words heavier. He talked about fear, about the cost of silence, about how people often wait for the perfect moment that never comes. He spoke about how regret doesn't scream, it whispers, slowly eroding happiness from the inside. Each sentence felt like a step closer to the edge of a cliff he had avoided for years. The confession itself wasn't dramatic in the way movies portray. There was no shouting, no tears spilling over instantly. It was quiet, raw, and devastatingly sincere. Ethan admitted that there was someone he had loved deeply and never told. He shared how his fear of ruining a friendship had cost him something far greater. He acknowledged his mistakes, his cowardice, and his hope, however small, that honesty even now could bring peace. The chat exploded. Messages flew by faster than anyone could read. Some were supportive, some shocked, some urging him to say her name. Ethan paused, breathing through the moment, understanding that once he crossed this line, there was no turning back. He said her name softly, not for attention, but as an act of respect. Lily Harper, the girl who changed his life without ever knowing it. What viewers didn't see was Lily herself, sitting alone in her Los Angeles apartment, watching the stream on her laptop with trembling hands. She had stumbled upon Ethan's channel months ago by accident, surprised by how familiar his voice felt. She never announced herself, never commented, content with quietly watching someone she once loved from a distance. Yes, loved, because while Ethan believed he had been alone in his feelings, Lily had carried the same unspoken truth for years. Hearing her name spoken like that, with such vulnerability, shattered the emotional walls she had built. Memories flooded back. The shared jokes, the moments that almost turned into something more, the night she had hoped he would stop her from leaving. She realized that time had not erased what they felt. It had only buried it deeper. Back on the stream, Ethan didn't ask for forgiveness or promise a fairy tale ending. He simply said that he wanted to live honestly from that moment forward, even if honesty led to heartbreak. That was the hardest part, accepting that truth doesn't guarantee happy endings, only freedom. When the stream ended, Ethan sat in silence, unsure of what he had just done. The adrenaline faded, leaving behind vulnerability in its purest form. He expected embarrassment, maybe backlash. What he didn't expect was the calm. For the first time in years, his chest didn't feel heavy. Whatever happened next, at least the truth was no longer trapped inside him. Hours later, his phone buzzed with a notification he had both feared and hoped for. A simple message appeared, one he recognized instantly. It didn't need long explanations or dramatic words. It was just enough to open a door he thought was permanently closed. That night, two people who had once been divided by fear found themselves speaking honestly for the first time. The days that followed were not magically perfect. There were difficult conversations, painful realizations, and moments where the weight of lost time felt unbearable. Lily admitted that she had waited longer than she should have, hoping Ethan would speak up. Ethan admitted that watching her leave without trying was his greatest regret. Healing, they learned, was not about erasing the past but understanding it. The internet, meanwhile, continued to buzz. Clips of the confession spread. Comments poured in from people who saw themselves in Ethan's vulnerability. Strangers shared their own stories of unspoken love and mischances. The confession became more than a personal moment. It became a reminder that honesty still mattered in a world obsessed with performance. Ethan's channel changed after that. Not because he gained more followers, but because his content carried a deeper sincerity. He talked more openly about fear, growth, and emotional responsibility. Lily didn't suddenly appear on screen or become part of the brand. Their story wasn't turned into content. Some things, they decided, deserved privacy. What mattered was that they had finally chosen courage over comfort. If this story is touching something inside you, if it reminds you of a truth you've been avoiding or a feeling you've been afraid to express, please pause for a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and subscribe. Stories like this exist because people choose to listen with their hearts. Life doesn't always offer perfect timing. Sometimes it only offers a choice, to stay silent or to speak, to protect yourself or to be real. Ethan's confession didn't guarantee a flawless ending, but it gave him something far more valuable: peace and the possibility of connection. Before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Comment below and tell us, have you ever waited too long to say something important, or are you still holding it inside? Your words might inspire someone else to be brave. In the end, The live stream wasn't just a confession of love, it was a confession of humanity, a reminder that behind every screen is a heart capable of fear, regret, and immense courage. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is press record, speak the truth, and trust that honesty, no matter how late, still has the power to change everything.